You're not supposed to make me cry before I even start. Jeez. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Um, I would like to dedicate my talk today to Miss Marilee, who I will greatly miss, and I know the rest of us will too. Okay, now I'm making myself cry. Gee, okay, let's get on with it, Deb. This has been our month of becoming. And what that's really about is connecting with and revealing who and what we truly are. Hmm? It would seem that we are all in this process, right? Diamonds in the rough, to quote a well worn phrase. This process is not for the faint of heart. We all know that. It often requires effort on our part, persistence, trust, and practice. Practice, practice, practice. So last week, Reverend Alice spoke to us about listening beyond the noise. She told us that silence is the presence of awareness. She also stressed the importance of quieting our intellects so that we can listen, so that we can hear. It does sometimes feel like we're being bombarded with the noise of daily life, and not to mention that mind chatter that often takes over unbidden. There are definitely times when silence appears to be in short supply. So it's up to us to create that for ourselves, to embrace that. It would seem that even silence is one of those things that we must needs practice. Sigh. More sighing from me. It makes sense that we can, or that we would seek the silence to clear our minds and get in touch with ourselves and the universe. So this week we take a look at love as a daily commitment. Hmm. Methinks it's more of a minute by minute and hour by hour commitment, for me anyway. To live from a place of love is to allow ourselves to let go any need to control. Yeah, circumstances, people, ourselves. We're letting our true light shine through as the divine beings that we really are. This often requires that we let go of the past, that we may be present in the now moment. We all know the present is where it's at. If we are to make love a daily commitment, the choices we make from minute to minute really do matter. When posed with a difficult situation, what choices will we make? Do we allow old hurts or resentments to take the lead? Sometimes they just do that on their own, don't they? Not my fault. Well, okay. Who's in charge here? Or do we choose to move forward in a new and a happier direction? Yeah, that sounds good to me. I really like this quote from Home Office. They labeled it as the conclusion. So that's where we're going to start today. It says, becoming is not a destination to be reached, but a sacred dance between who we are and who we are remembering to be. As we practice love, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a living expression of our divine nature, we begin to see clearly what has always been there, our oneness with the whole. It's not about adding something new to ourselves, but about removing what obstructs our perception of the eternal in the everyday. Did that surprise you to hear that becoming's not a destination? It appears to be, doesn't it? We're not striving to get anything or anywhere. Rather, we're really seeking to reveal the innate splendor that we came here with, to take off our masks and to let our true inner spirits shine. We're reawakening to what we have always known. We are all one and one with it. I find that last bit of the quote to be a key ingredient in living love daily. The part that says it's not about adding something new to ourselves. Aren't we always trying to do that? Better ourselves? We can't be any more better than God in form, right? It's the recognition of that, the revelation and remembering of that. But we're about removing what obstructs our perception of the eternal in the everyday. Isn't that so true? How many times do we find ourselves not being able to see the forest for the trees? The trees being what distracts us from the beauty of the whole picture. We often allow our fascination with our obstructions to blind us to the glory of God that surrounds us, and which indeed permeates us. So much of our lives are colored by our perceptions and our perspectives. Letting go of what obstructs our spiritual vision frees us up to actually experience the presence of God moment to moment. Wow, can we take it? I'm not sure I can stand that intensity, that much intensity of being. And that's an interesting roadblock I seem to have claimed for myself just now, huh? Maybe I'm assuming an intensity that's unnecessary or not quite where it's at. Perhaps it would be more like a gentle breeze, like the kiss of God. Are you following me? Sorry if it's too ambiguous. Yeah. Okay, you guys are smart. Smarty pants. You know, uh, you know who really seems to have mastered this ability to live love? Can you guess what I'm going to say? Animals. Animals. The animals that inhabit our planet are living soul centered lives. How about that? How does that make you feel? A little behind in things, huh? It just comes naturally to them. Okay, so that doesn't seem quite fair, does it? It comes naturally. I can't say for sure, of course, but a good number of them seem to have this lesson aced. hmm I think some of the truest and most visible forms of love can be found in the animal kingdom. Think about it. I'm sure there are those who would dispute my theory on that. However, witness a mother lion tending to her cubs. She feeds them, protects them, watches over them, defends them ferociously, and teaches them until they're able to do these things for themselves. Oh, and when that time comes, she uses tough love, to send them out into the world to make their own way. Uh huh. Science might prefer to call this behavior instinctual, or perhaps just the natural order of things necessary to promoting the continuance of the species. That may be, as far as it goes. Animal parents most often show a great deal of dedication and perseverance when it comes to their offspring. There are actually lots of studies centered around animals and their ability to have and show emotions, much like we humans. They do this with one another, and they also do it with us. We've all borne witness to that. It's a well known fact that dogs, in particular, show happiness and loyalty and what appears to be love for other animals and humans that they have relationships with. Same can be said for cats. Really, I believe that. Though they may be more reserved about it, I think they just have a different sense of self than dogs do. Those of us who have ever had pets know with certainty that they love us as much as we love them. That's really, I believe that to be so. And to add to that, we all know that there are countless stories of animals who have actually rescued humans from life threatening situations, often saving their lives. Even wild animals have exhibited this behavior. Why do you think that is? Maybe it's God in form? Yes, of course, I have a short tale for you about a man and the wild bear that gave him a helping hand or paw, as the case was. I found this account on the animalco.com website, and there was quite a few accounts there. I would have loved to share more with you, but I'll just do this one. So, deep in the remote wilderness of Alaska, a fisherman experienced a life altering event. While casting his line into the river, he lost his footing and was swept away by the swift current. Struggling against the powerful water, his chances seemed bleak until an unlikely savior appeared, a large bear drawn to the commotion, approached the riverbank. Instead of seeing the man as potential prey, the bear reached into the water and pulled him to safety. You believe that? Isn't that something? Exhausted and bewildered, the fisherman could scarcely believe what had transpired. This extraordinary rescue defied all expectation of bear behavior, captivating wildlife experts and the public alike. The bear's actions suggested the inexplicable moment of empathy, challenging preconceived notions about these formidable animals. This story serves as a testament to the unpredictable and often miraculous interactions that can and do occur between humans and nature, reminding us of the shared world we inhabit. Isn't that something? That's a true story. So, what can we say about that? It would seem that we are all most certainly one, cut from the same cloth. One would think that there will perhaps come a time, maybe in our lifetimes, when we all know this and act accordingly. Doesn't this tell us that love is a universal emotion, one not exclusively our own? Empathy and compassion go a long way to proving the truth. In talking about love, it's vitally important for us to include ourselves in that conversation. It all begins with love of self, the true self, the God self. It's imperative that we treat ourselves with love and compassion. The act of loving the self, allowing for our perceived flaws and humanness, spills over into all our other relationships. Isn't that the truth? How can we be accepting of others if we're not first accepting of ourselves? I don't mind telling you, I definitely struggled with this topic. I've recently had occasion to put this concept into practice for myself, and I do feel like I've made some progress, I'm happy to report. Instead of beating myself up and wondering how I could have made such a mess of things, I refused to do that to myself. I accepted the situation as it was, tried to suspend judgment over any of it, and chalked it up to a lesson learned. I kept remembering Karen Drucker's song, I Surrendered to My Greater Highest Good. I kept repeating that to myself over and over. Oh gosh, surrender is so painful sometimes, isn't it? Jeez, just saying it gives me the willies. So I do expect to make better choices in the future. Mostly, I think I refuse to let this particular event define me because it really doesn't. What defines me is the present within, my conscious awareness of that, my allowing it to be and flow through me. I do believe when things don't seem to go our way, it really is just the universe letting us know it's time to make a change, time to move on to the next thing. It's truly just another opportunity knocking at the door. I always wonder what gifts it will hold because we know that's all there is. God is only good, only love, and that is ever available to each one of us. Let us tap into that, please. I sometimes think life is really just about the ability to make easy, graceful changes. We so often hang on to what's old and very comfortable to us, even if it doesn't serve us very well, possibly fearing the unknown. Letting go can definitely be scary and a laborious prospect. My sister's an interesting person. Well, I find her to be so. You don't know her, so what would you know? Let me tell you, I think she's really pretty good at letting things go. We're somewhat alike, yet very different in many respects, her and I. What fascinates me about her is that she seems to forgive so easily. How did she come by that? I wonder if she's just trying to keep the peace. How has she come by her willingness and ability to forgive and move on? I do believe she has a good sense of self and what she expects out of life. She's lived through some very difficult circumstances, and most of us have. I think she's strong-willed. That's probably served her well in many respects. Sorry that I'm kind of getting sidetracked with my sister. I probably could go on and on, but I won't. It was the forgiveness thing that got me hooked on her to begin with. I think it's probably an excellent example for me to follow, and I'll just leave it at that. So, love takes so many forms and has so many different meanings to each of us. Often interpret it in such disparate ways. What feels like one love to one might not feel that way at all to another person. This is what Home Office says about love. At Centers for Spiritual Living, we know that love is a universal principle. Love is the outpouring of the universal spirit through its desire to express itself as creation. Love is the impulse, and the law is the form that creation takes. Therefore, love is not something we can give and receive. It is our divine nature. It just is what we are. I find that really very interesting and nicely put. Different spiritual practices and methods help us open our inner understanding, align ourselves with the consciousness of our true being, to know that love is more than a feeling. Spiritual practices help us heal blockages and open ourselves up to live love as revelation. More letting go to heal blockages. Not unlike spiritual Drano. If only that came in a bottle. Man, I'd buy that for sure. Our aim as a daily commitment is to move more wholeheartedly into our authenticity. We're really just revealing the truth of our being, aligning ourselves with that, and allowing it to express through us. Our spiritual practices help us plant the seeds that lead us back to ourselves and the love within us. And here are a few helpful suggestions given along with my topic. You might consider making a practice of a few of these. One of them is, after waking up, place one hand on your heart and repeat, I am available to love and be loved. Repeat that 5,000 times, please. That was my addition. Speaking to myself, of course. And then there's, before responding to a difficult situation, take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, what would love do here? You have to have the presence of mind to do that, don't you? You can't be doing that with fogged up emotions. And then there's, try using this thought in your journal. Where did I open myself to love today? That's a good one. And where did I close myself off? I think that's a great one. I'll put that one on my list. Oh, and the first one, I'll use the first one too. I promise you guys, like you care. After every meaningful conversation, oh, this is the last one. After every meaningful conversation, give thanks inwardly for the shared connection, regardless of the outcome. That's a real interesting one. Yeah. So remember, loving isn't always feeling good. It's choosing to be present. Just like Reverend Alice talked about, being present in the moment, being being present with the silence. The silence is the presence. Conscious micro steps create fertile ground for love to blossom from within. So, what do you believe about yourself? Do you absolutely know at a soul level that you are love personified? That sounds like a rather tall order. To unmask yourself and let that be you may seem just a bit daunting. Once again, I hearken back to the Tao. Life is not meant to be a struggle. Just let it be. Let go and let God. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind says, "The only God there is the God of love, and the only life there is the life of love, expressing itself through all." So I'll leave you with this one last quote from CSL Home Office. "Love is a profound recognition of what has always been present, that only becomes visible when we're ready to feel it. It is an experience that is not imposed, but revealed as we open ourselves to it. Every gesture of tenderness, every sincere act of care is a window into our essential nature. It is not something we acquire, but something we unveil as we transcend the layers of ego, fear, and defense." End of quote. So, love is a choice. We consciously choose to allow love in and spread it around. Be fearless and trust yourselves, my spiritual warrior friends. Love is what you are, and so it is. So please join me in a prayer where, when we know truth, we know the Spirit as one, the world as one, the universe as one, and we are all part of that. As we unite and recognize our oneness, we open the way to good and greater good. We allow ourselves to experience that in this world, individually and collectively as societies. We move on, we move forward, we move onward and upward, allowing truth to express through us as us. This is our divine inheritance. We are each of us capable of doing this, revealing the truth about ourselves, allowing ourselves to be open to it, embracing the silence, embracing the love that we are, and bringing it forth into this world with mighty works. There is nothing we can't do. And so for all of this, I give thanks, with the recognition of life and love as being who and what we are. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is.